Hi everyone, Big Mac here. Welcome back to Let's Play Yoshi's Story for the Nintendo 64. Today we're going into stage 5-2. Lots of fish. So I'm wondering what we'll find inside this particular stage. Maybe some fish. I don't know. Anyway, we start off under the water. And in fact, here to maneuver Yoshi around, all you have to do is steer the control stick. You don't have to be tapping any buttons over and over to try and propel yourself forward at all. You just get to move around with the control stick, so you don't have to worry about the mechanic too much. So of course, Yoshi can pick up eggs, but what's he gonna do with eggs underwater? That's not really gonna help us much. Well, in fact, there are plenty of sections of this stage that are above ground. So, for example, there was Miss Warp number 1 for us to find. Otherwise, it'd be hard to, step on Miss Warp number 1 if we're underwater. But, there are even above ground, there are plenty of secrets for us to find. So, we see these two boxes, and we see our friend Poochie the dog. So, as usual with these boxes, mystery boxes, we push them together in order to produce, in order for melons to pop out. And again, it just depends on the stage. Sometimes you have to do special things with them. Anyway, let's head back down under the water and see where else our friends get to take care of Yoshi now. So, of course, this is a pretty slow-going stage, admittedly, because you just get to swim around. You still have to watch out for all of the creatures flying around or swimming around. You've got these sea cacti that can hurt you if you poke them. The Cheeps are swimming around too. Those eels. The eels you can actually pick up to regain some health. And the Cheeps you can actually use to collect eggs. So, can you see that melon inside of that sea anemone? Oh my, it's a friend or an enemy? Who knows? Anyway, let's check out this pipe down here. And in fact, this is the pipe this is how we get to our first super happy heart. So what we're going to have to do in this particular room, can you see the Cheeps in the background? Like, some of them are carrying melons even, so we're going to have to be careful of that, or mindful of that. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try and eat every single Cheep that comes in our way. And of course, the ones that drop melons, well, that'll be more melons for us to pick up. Awesome. You can either pick up the Cheep right, or you can either eat the melon first, or just eat the Cheep, and the Cheep will drop the melon. If you grab a little happy heart so that Yoshi becomes super happy, that does give you the benefit of being invincible during this part, and it makes it a little bit easier to try and grab the melons, not the watermelons, as well as the Cheeps. Unfortunately, if you miss some, you have to wait for them to come back around, so I sped this part up a bit. This is at double time speed now, so, of course, yeah, you still have to wait a while. You have to have all the fishies come back around. You want to try and eat the fish, of course, eat the Cheeps, because once you... not the melons, not the watermelons, Yoshi, the Cheeps. Anyway, once you actually eat all of the Cheeps, then the super happy heart will appear. So, if you can get this in fewer than 3 tries, awesomely done. You can use the bubbles that the clams make to try and steer your path. Like here, I finally was able to get it down a little bit. And I happened to just grab the super happy heart as soon as it appeared. But there it was in our inventory screen. Now that we've got mostly melons, let's finally get out of this room. So of course we already have 2 watermelons, so this is obviously not a perfect 30 melon run. But let's try and make the rest of the melons as much as possible. You do have to want to check the top and the bottom of each of these particular screens, or especially when you're underwater, because there might be pipes that lead to different places. So here we found this warp number 2, and if you guys haven't seen these bees before, these bees will actually stop you in your tracks, unless you can get by them slowly. So that's the trick of this particular puzzle, is there's a timer going, and if you can walk very, very slowly until you pass the bees, you have to pass them. You can't be underneath them, as I showed you guys right there. You have to be going slowly enough. Oh man, we're losing time here. In fact, if there's actually there's more down that way. If you had been able to get past that bunch of bees the first time, there actually would be a second bunch of bees for you to collect, or to try and sneak by, and another melon behind that second group of bees. So we missed one possible melon already. because we couldn't sneak past the melons in time. We were too slow in going slow, if that makes any sense. Anyway, we do have to be careful because these hey, there's the second super happy heart. Let's try and get to that. Of course, we have to be careful with all the fish and everything else that's in our path. Whoa, where did you come from? Down here, there's another pipe for us to explore, so we're definitely going to check that out. I don't know why they have... This honestly feels like a very unimportant cave. It feels like they just put it in here just for the Miss Warp. And there are a couple melons, too, with the unimportant switch. I don't know why there's a switch in here. You don't need that switch, really, for anything. You could have just had the melons in that cave. Of course, swimming outward, we lose, you know... In that transition, we lose our super happy, or our happiness, but we are close to the other super happy heart, so that will refill all of Yoshi's health for us, fortunately. And it also makes a couple more melons appear. There are so many melons in this little part of the stage. I don't know why. They're just all here in one little part. Anyway, we can grab a couple more Cheep Cheeps. We can use them to, of course, regain our health as well, but the eels are better for that. So the sea anemones, I can't even pronounce that word today. The sea anemones, you know, they're just in the way and you have to use your tongue to try and get around them. Now, out here, we're actually at the very end of the stage. The stage itself is not very long. However, we spend the rest of our time in the stage because there are bees. And we already saw what happens with bees. And as you guys saw there, there's actually a melon race, or a carry the boxes minigame involving involving the melons and the bees, and it becomes quite hasslesome. So I was trying to walk by very slowly. The only reason I'm doing this part first is that way I make sure that I have 6 melons in a row. If you hit that beehive from behind, it will unveil a melon. So in fact, over here is our secret letter, which is P in this case. And in fact, there's Miss Warp number 4. You're at the end of the stage. So there's our third happy heart too, just hanging out by itself. That's fine. Poochie, does Poochie have a melon for us as well, or what does Poochie have in store? Oh, that's nice, coins. Or is yeah, nice. Okay, we get it. There's a bunch of coins. Thanks, Poochie. Wait, there's a melon too. Wow. So you have to be a little persistent with that. Of course, now we've got to try and play the melon game, because I'm still trying to collect the melons, even though we got our secret letter and we got all super happy hearts. So now we have to try and use our balancing mechanic to get by the bees, and it's not nearly as easy as it sounds. So the way that we're going to be able to have to approach this is we're going to have to walk very slowly. And when I mean very slowly, I mean I mean it. Notice that even if you can try and have a little bit of a pace, but at the second you start going fast, or if you start losing your melons, that's it. You're going to wake them up, or you're going to get them angry. So in fact, I sped it up here as well, just to try and speed up the process. It sounds a little bit funny too. This was at ×4 speed. So notice how slowly I am carrying the boxes of melons just so that I can get by this one part. And again, this is at 4x speed, so imagine how slow I'm actually going at this point. But if you just barely nudge the controller, you'll be able to do it. You might be able to do it a little bit faster. I didn't want to test it. But anyway, we reached the end of the stage. We have more than enough melons to actually complete the level, since we were able to collect all 7 melons, and this stage is now done. So of course we missed 2 melons. We missed the one in that first part that I talked about where we didn't get past the bees fast enough, and then we had to leave 1 melon on the ground. But Yoshi is happy, so let's get out of lots of fish. Here's our score for this stage. Again, I'm not too concerned about score at all, but let's hear. Oh, we're getting pretty close to my top score. That's exciting for this video. So let's read from the storybook. The deep, wide ocean would not be an easy swim, but the Yoshis dove in. For the first time in their lives, the Yoshis swam to the ocean floor. The Yoshis, after reaching the shore, the Yoshis found their story coming to a close. The page turned, and the Yoshis grew happier. So indeed, let's go ahead, turn the page, and we are going to page 6, the castle. So feel free to pick your stage at this point. Check the links on the bottom of the description. Until then, Big Mac saying, later.